Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to give you a complete technique guide to curling a football. The first step is the run-up. So to generate whip, we need to make sure we're striking across our body. So to make this easier, we want to approach the ball either from a 90-degree angle from our target or a 45-degree angle. This allows us to really wrap our leg across our body, which is going to generate all of that spin. To generate the most curl and the most power and accuracy, you want a smooth technique. So to do this, you want to lean forward slightly, and I like to take 3 or 4 steps into the ball, so that when we finally strike the ball, we've generated plenty of momentum, and that's going to transfer into the ball and through the shot. So now let's talk about the planting foot. This is one of the most important steps for generating accuracy on the strike. So first thing, we need to make sure that final stride as we plant our foot is the longest out of our run-up. So our first few steps are wide, and then that last one, we really lunge into the ball. This is going to help us generate momentum, which is going to increase the power of our strike. With the planting foot, we want to place it directly beside the ball with our ankle bone aligned with the middle of the ball or slightly behind it. I usually find that the closer up my planting foot is to the ball, the more accuracy on my shot. It's probably about 6 inches or so. Any further than that is quite difficult to hit the area on the ball we need to and wrap around it. So we want to make sure it's close enough to the ball so that we can strike it, but still leaving room for our leg to swing across our body. Also, with our planting foot, we need to make sure our toes are actually pointing slightly away from our target. Because we're generating curl, we need to allow room for that curl effect. If I was to point directly at my target, let's say we're aiming for this top right corner, and then I create the spin, the ball's going to travel more towards the middle of the goal. It's going to be an easy save for the goalkeeper. But if we're trying to actually get it in that top right corner, we need to actually point our toes away from it. Play around with this technique. Depending on how much curl you're actually generating is how far you should be pointing wide from your target. When we plant our foot, we need to make sure we have a slight bend in the knee. This is going to give us more balance and stability, which is going to give us more control over our technique. And as a result, our shot's going to be a lot more accurate and powerful. And then to enhance that balance even further, we want to make sure our opposite arm to our kicking leg is outstretched for balance as well. You'll notice yourself, if you balance on one leg, it's a lot easier to balance when you have your arms outstretched. It's the same with this kicking technique. So as we plant that foot, our arm is out for balance with a slight bend in the knee, and these two combined is going to give you ultimate balance and control over the shot. Now we're actually going to swing the leg and prepare for the strike. So we want to make sure we have maximum backswing. This is where all the power really comes from. If we have a short backswing, we only have a small range of motion to be able to strike the ball and generate momentum with. But if we come from a really flexed position so that my foot is level with my hip, it gives it a greater range of motion to strike through the ball. So this is going to increase the power. So making sure our leg is fully flexed, our knee is kind of slightly behind us. So we're really coming from a maximum pendulum swing effect position, and that's going to allow us to strike cleanly through the ball with as much power as possible. So next, let's talk about contact areas, the area of the ball we want to strike and the area of the foot we want to be striking with. So let's talk about the ball first, and the quarter of the ball we want to be hitting is this lower right quadrant. If I'm a right-footed player, that's where I'm going to be striking the ball because it's off-center and it's low. The lower on the ball you hit, the more height you're going to get, and the more to the side of the ball you strike, the more spins you're going to get on the ball. So to get that up and down effect, we want to make sure we're hitting low on the ball, striking upwards, and making sure we're to the side of the ball to generate that spin. Now let's talk about the area of the foot we're going to be striking with. It's this sweet spot, so right in between the laces and the inside of the foot. The laces is used to generate the most power, and the inside is for the most accuracy. So we're going to be using the area right in between those two so that we get that hybrid effect, both some power but also accuracy. So we need to angle our foot slightly upwards, pointing our toes to the sky, and then we strike upwards on the ball. This is going to give that spin, but almost in a rainbow effect, so it gets up and then back down on the opposite side. Making sure that we're locking our ankle. Anytime we're striking the ball, we want to make sure our ankle is rigid. Think of a tennis player, and if you hit a ball with a racket that has very loose strings, you're not going to be able to generate much power on the ball. But if the strings are tight, the ball is going to propel directly off the racket with a lot of velocity. So that's the same effect when you have a locked ankle. So making sure that if someone was to try and move your foot around, they wouldn't be able to. You're really flexing the muscles around the ankle, and that's what locks it to make sure the strike is clean. So now let's talk about the follow through. So we're in position, we've just struck the ball. So with our actual follow through, we want to create a curved effect with our body. So to do that, we're swinging across our body. So as you can see, my striking leg goes completely on the opposite side of my planting foot. That curved action is going to give the ball even more spin. So we strike through the ball, up and over. As we're striking the ball though, we need to make sure our chest is leaning over it. If we lean back, the ball is just going to sky up in the air. So as I make contact with that ball, hitting low and upwards, I need to make sure I'm leaning over at the same time. And here's a key tip for you to help you generate even more momentum. That arm you had outstretched for balance, as your leg swings across your body, you want your opposite arm to swing the opposite way. This is going to generate even more momentum. It's going to allow you to twist more aggressively, which is going to add even more spin to the ball. And as a result, you're going to get even more curl. And the final step is what we do with our planting foot after we follow through the ball. So two options here. When you're first starting off, I would recommend leaving your planting foot completely. So as you strike through the ball, you leave your planting foot and land back on your striking foot. But as you get more advanced with this technique, what you might notice is that your planting foot wants to just drag along the surface of the ground. So as you strike the ball, your planting foot might just drag across like this on the side, and you just let that happen. It's very normal, and it's actually a more disciplined way to follow through your technique. And this is going to help you generate more power and accuracy in the shot. So there we have it, loads of tips to help you improve your curling technique. And I know that's a lot of information to absorb, but start slowly at first, think about each part of the technique, and then over time, as you get more repetitions, everything will start to become second nature and you'll be able to do it without thinking. And a bonus tip, I'd recommend filming yourself performing this technique and then look at each of those steps and see where you can make improvements. So I hope these tips helped. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure you smash the like button, hit that subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.